Hey folks, Randy Ritchie here with Jewish, Asian, and Pacific Island wrestlers you should know. And today we are going to be recognizing Nakamura and Rosey. As everyone knows, Rosey is part of the Anoa family. You know, the famous family. His brother, who is 15 years younger than him, is Roman Reigns. One of the biggest things that pisses me off on the internet is all these smart, keyword smart, marks who think Rosey and Umaga were the same person. They were cousins. Growing up, Rosey played football alongside Emmett Smith at Escambia High School in Pensacola, Florida. He had hopes to play in the NFL and played college football for Hawaii. He worked at various nightclubs and in New Orleans before he decided to become a professional wrestler. He was trained by his uncle, by the way, Afa, at World Extreme Wrestling. I think they are in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Now you know the rest. Man, he was so over Rosey. Rosey and the Hurricane, two, again, of the most memorable characters over the last 20 years in the history of pro wrestling. But I'm looking for those things that you don't know. Aside from professional wrestling, he was a featured contestant on the reality television series Fat March, where he lost 100 pounds, but further injured his left knee in his town of Milford, Ohio, where he raised his kids and with his wife. He decided to open and run a restaurant. The restaurant, Island Boy Barbecue, was the first and only Polynesian restaurant in town. Rosey loved to give back to the community and would often take hot plates to feed the varsity football team. It was known as a hangout for some of the Cincinnati Bengals who enjoyed the food. As his health declined, he closed his restaurant to focus on his health needs. A few years before his death, he returned to his own high school town and opened Epic Championship Wrestling out of Pensacola, Florida. He was half Samoan and half Italian. I didn't know that. His father was Sika, and Sika is the least talk about Samoan, which is, Samoan wrestler, which is kind of ridiculous to me. The father of Rosey and of Roman Reigns. Again, he is the brother of Joe Anoa, better known as Roman Reigns. His ex-wife, Amanda Vanderberg Shaw, current wife of former MMA fighter Carrie Shaw, is from Mason, Ohio. They had two sons together, Jordan and Rodney, and his daughter Madison. In January 2014, Anoa was hospitalized due to congestive heart failure, which he'd been diagnosed years earlier, with an arterial fibrillation. Anoa's CHF was related to his weight gain as he struggled with chronic knee injury, which also caused hip issues. He died April 17, 2017, 10 days after his 47th birthday. Once again, the Samoan people, they're prone to these health conditions. You can go ahead and check the records, and I can't imagine what it would be like to be that overweight, but have that knee be so gone. Without a knee, or one knee, how could he do anything about it, But from what I know, from what I hear, and from what I see, he lived a very full life, Rosey. And, I can't find or think of anybody that's ever had anything bad to say about him. May he rest in peace, And I love to hear the fact that he was part Italian, because I am part Italian. I'm a third Italian. The other thing I love is to hear about somebody like him who was never too big for his britches and gave back. Now, Nakamura, I did not know this. He actually trained in the Inoki dojo. Growing up, he loved Jushin Thunder Liger. Now, Did you know that Nakamura is 43 years old? I was just arguing with somebody today about this, and oh, these guys, they're so twisted in their brains, and they get even more twisted by reading up on the crap on the internet about how they're going to get to WWE through the indies. Okay? Nakamura was a huge star in Japan. He did very well in Japan, as everybody knows. Wrestling in Japan put Shinsuke Nakamura on the map. But Vince hired him, when he was an older guy, because he had finally not only reached the talent or the level of talent that he had in the ring, but also he had the emotional maturity. No, I'm not saying you got to be 40 years old or in your 40s or in your late 30s to get emotional maturity. I just wish that you young talents would stop being such a slave to your ego and realize that professional wrestling is a business, and a living, breathing example of that is a guy who, yes, paid his dues like a son of a bitch, and now he's making a shitload of money and enjoyed success. The guy is happy. He's been an avid surfer since 2003, and he moved from Japan to Orlando, Florida, so he could, surf. He's enjoying life, and he's married to a lovely Japanese woman, Harumi Makawa, and they've been married since 2007. Another thing I want to point out to you guys is this. In 2008, TNA had an opportunity to use Nakamura. They had no idea what to do with him or how to book him. I was there in 2007. I got shit canned the week before Christmas in 2007, and I didn't even know that Nakamura was there in 2008 and dropped the ball. Bottom line to this guy, man, Nakamura, I'm going to go ahead and equate him to a Ron Killings, if you will, but of Asian descent. As long as he maintains that charisma that he has, he'll be in the industry probably as long as he chooses to be, or be at WWE, as long as he chooses to be, if he can stay healthy. And the guy looks pretty healthy, and hands down, every little thing he does in that ring stands out and equates into money. And he's got to have one of the best ring entrances in the history of the industry, right? All right, guys, once again, Jewish, Asian, Pacific Island wrestlers you should know. Please note, there are no YouTube commercials on this, so at least be cool, like, and subscribe. And take a gander at the Linktree links in the description. I'm going to go ahead and put both men's Wikipedia links in the description as well. And remember, this is being brought to you by Premier Pro Wrestling.